Hmm. Hello again, YouTube land. I know it's been a little while since I posted last. Life has gotten away from me, to put it mildly. Um, Once again, dispense with the glasses so I can actually see. um, what's been going on lately? Okay. Topics I want to cover today. I probably won't get to everything, but we'll see how I do. Bear in mind, these are done freeform, not scripted, so off the cuff is the key phrase here. Um, Recent events. My dad apparently is having an eye surgery in the coming days. Um, so I'm hoping that goes well. Uh, this weekend was probably the busiest social weekend that Sam and I have almost ever had. On Saturday, one of his cousins, our family is Jewish, so one of his cousins had her, I want to say, bar mitzvah. I think bats are boys and bars are girls. I can never keep it straight because I never had one as a teenager. I wasn't allowed to. Thanks, Mom. Um, Sorry, my eyes are watering. I don't know why. Um, so that was Saturday, and we had to be in Westchester at like 9 a.m. And me being me, I was like, no, 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 no. We're going to take the train that gets us there earlier because shit happens. So we actually got to Hastings at 8:30, and we live in Queens. So it was a trip. And of course, it was the second of 11 consecutive weekends that the 7 train is not running from Queensboro to Times Square, which is like a third, if not half, of the line. Yay! Screw me up. So we had to do a couple of quick changes, but if you know the subways in New York, it's actually not that bad. For those in the know, we just did a quick change from the 7 to the N and then went down to the 4-5 Express. It was really not that bad. We did get there early. We got to Grand Central early to catch the train, which is good because I hadn't eaten yet. I grabbed something. We got on the train, got up there. And the thing was in New Jersey, because that's where his cousins live. And that was a 40-minute drive with his parents in the car, and 2 hours in the temple, and then we were at the actual party, the reception party portion, from like 12:30 until, when did we leave? 5 or 6 p.m. probably. And if you've never been to one of these, to a bar mitzvah or a bat mitzvah or what have you, they're a thing, okay? 9 times out of 10, they're a thing. It's not just like, oh, okay, well, the birthday person and some of their friends are going to get together and, we're going to have cake and maybe some pizza or something. No. This thing is organized, I'd say really as complicated as our wedding reception was. I'm not kidding. There's a place picked out, space reserved. There's way more relatives there than you would think someone would consider inviting. There's a cocktail hour and a sit-down meal, an open dance floor with a DJ and a host. And because it was a child's party, there were those ubiquitous people there teaching them the current dance moves, which I just find ridiculous unto itself. I mean, why does a group of 12-year-olds need to learn the current booty shake maneuver? That's just wrong on levels I can't even count. And then at one point halfway through, now, I don't have a huge amount of performance anxiety. I mean, not compared to how I used to be. But for reasons I don't understand, coming back from washing my hands just before the dessert, I'm guessing it was another relative I've never met on a distant side of Sam's family, went walking past me in the hallway and went, hey, you're a really good dancer. Are you talking to me? What? Yeah, I just thought I'd tell you I think you're a really good dancer. Quoi? So I finished walking back into the reception room, the birthday room, and I told Sam what happened, and I was like, what the hell brought that on? I'm easily 100 pounds bigger than anybody here. Why am I the one getting told I'm a good dancer? Because I know how to dance and I don't? Or, like, and I was toning it down. I had to be, like, you know how you bite your lip or your cheek to keep from saying something? I have to lock my ankles together to keep from getting up and dancing, because despite being big and overweight, medically speaking, overweight, I like to dance. I really do. And it's not just like a girl thing or a femme thing. I grew up in a very musical household. I like to dance. So that was the weirdness of that experience. Inadvertently stepping on a cat toy. This is my life now. In any event, Sunday was difficult at best. We went all the way out to an area of Brooklyn we haven't been to before, because a friend was having, well, a friend and his wife, they're both our friends, but they were having a brunch at their place, and we actually got invited, which you would think it wouldn't be surprising because they're friends of ours, but they're on that borderline between friend and acquaintance. So I was kind of surprised that we got invited, but whatever, we went. And that was interesting. I mean, brunch is not, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but brunch is not like a childhood activity. I mean, like, you have play tea time, you can have pretend lunches with, you know, imaginary people. Brunch is really in the realm of, oh my god, I'm an adult. I have to think of a food to bring. It was a potluck. I have to decide if I'm bringing a bottle of wine. I have to be prepared to deal with people I've never met before in an environment I've never been in, which is not that scary for a lot of people. You know, it's just like, oh, okay, you know, so-and-so's friends I haven't met yet, and we're going to their apartment. I spent several years with a really bad case of agoraphobia. I was terrified of leaving the house. To this day, I won't go anywhere without my cell phone, because that's my placebo. That's my way of being confident that even if I go out, there's a way for me to handle it if something goes wrong. I can inform somebody, ask for help, call for help, whatever. So that was interesting. But it was fun. I mean, the people were nice. There weren't too many people. But, you know, another sign that this was an adult thing, there was one little girl. She was probably like 2-ish. And then there were 2 babies, one of whom belonged to a mom who was obviously well close to her due date. I mean, she was out there. She had to have been like 8 months at least. So that was interesting. Babies everywhere. I won't get into it. It's a separate subject. It's a separate conversation with a whole universe of observations and opinions. So we're just going to move on. Something more recent. Okay, recent and, well, topical. 9 minutes. Okay. Recent and topical. I'm part of a group on Facebook which follows a particular reporter on one of the local stations. I've mentioned him before, Greg Mocker on WPIX 11 here in New York. You know, he's interviewed me a couple of times now, and he's a very, like I said before, he's a very personable guy. He's very easy to talk to and easy to get along with. You know, which I can certainly see makes him endearing as one of the man-about-town reporters. But he also participates in this group because the ideology behind it is that it's, I guess you'd call it a community of people, like-minded people, trying to get as much information out to as many people as possible, considering all the potential opinions behind it. And one of the stories that was just posted, I want to say a day or so ago, was by the group leader, Dara. And you know, the people I've dealt with in this group purely through Facebook, aside from the fact that some of them and I don't agree viewpoint-wise, they're all very nice people. I mean, in and of themselves, presentation-wise, they're very nice people. Dara herself, I think, is particularly positive and outgoing. I don't know if that's because of what line of work she's in or not, but she just seems like a generally bubbly personality type, which you don't often come across. But the story posted was about New York planning on instituting, or considering, I should say, instituting fines on the subways for people eating and drinking, because they also are considering removing all of the trash bins. And I've posted a couple of comments on the news thread in the group, but the basic point is this. People have to eat. People have to drink. Far and away the majority of people now don't drink enough water as it is, because they drink Gatorade and coffee and Powerade and Starbucks flappity wappity whatever it is. I mean, I'm guilty of it too. I certainly am. But you can't tell people when and where they can eat and drink. I mean, think about this. We're in New York. We already have the anti-smoking mayor, who's basically outlawed the concept of smoking. I mean, he can't practically apply that, but he's basically outlawed it every way conceivably possible. The man made it so he could have a third term. Let's put two and two together, people. But they want to institute fines of $250 for every infraction that, that you're caught, which is a load of crap. I'm sorry. It's a load of crap. People work, go to school, have kids, have, sick or disabled relatives. I would be willing to bet that somewhere in the high 80% of New Yorkers do not get enough sleep because they're doing one, probably more of the aforementioned items. And you can't tell them, okay, well, in the 3 minutes you ride the train from your school to picking up your kids at their school, you're not allowed to have a coffee. You can't tell them you're not allowed to have the egg sandwich from the cart on the street because we're afraid that it's going to bring about more rats. People, I have news for you. Rats and metropolitan areas, they go hand in hand. You cannot have this many people in this small a space and not have a pest control issue. Short of completely sealing the subway system, all of it, and carpet bombing with rat poison, you're not going to get rid of the pests. And for that matter, the subway system and the sewer system are not that dissimilar, and they're not that far removed from each other. There is no way to completely eradicate the pest problem. And how on earth, I want to know, are you supposed to ticket people for littering? First of all, to prove that they littered, you would have to have video evidence or fingerprints, which is not going to happen. I don't care what you say, it's not going to happen. If you remove the trash bins, people are going to throw things on the tracks anyway, which is going to cause serious issues and fires and other things I can't even begin. And you can't tell people not to drink. First of all, the subways have one of the worst air systems I've ever experienced. The lack of moisture in the air on most of those subways, combined with the number of people shoved in like sardines, you cannot tell people they're not allowed to drink water. You can't. It's inhumane at best. And it would tie up the legal system. I mean, think about this. The number of people who go in and dispute traffic tickets would pale in comparison to the people who would dispute the fines for littering. Many people wear gloves. You can't fingerprint things if someone's wearing gloves, It's politics run amok, and they're trying to drum up money for their own bad budgeting issues. But there's my 2 cents on that. There's more I could say, but I'm not gonna. My time's up. Hope y'all are having a good week.